morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. It's Sunday, and we're going to be talking a bit about the Parsha. Very interesting Parsha, Parshas Boy. I hope you all had a wonderful Shabbos. I want to thank again Raya and Mordechai Meltz for this Facebook and Zoom that they are managing. We have a very interesting Parsha, and it leads to a very interesting concept in Yiddishkeit. It's called free choice. Free choice is one of the foundations that we base a lot of the ideas behind, for example, rewards and punishments. Rewards and punishments apply only when you actually have a free choice to do it or not to do it, right? If someone has no free choice and he has to do something, well, you can't punish him for it and you can't reward him for it because it's not him doing it. He was forced to do it. So one of the fundamental issues in Judaism is sachar va'onesh, which is rewards and punishment, and free choice. We have to believe that we have a free choice to do good or to do bad. And as the Torah tells us, yeah, you have in front of you, we provide you with the ability to do good and to do the bad also, because we have to have free choice. And interesting, the Gemara says that the neshama, when the neshama comes, before it comes down to this world, so it comes in front of Hashem, and Hashem tells the neshama, gives powers to the neshama, but it also decides whether this person, this neshama that's coming, the soul that's coming down to the world, whether it will be rich or poor, smart or the opposite of smart, whether it would be all kinds connected to kindness or it would be harsh. One thing Hashem doesn't decide for the neshama: tzaddik or rasha. No one can decide whether you'll be a tzaddik, a good person, or a rasha, evil. That is up to you. That is up to the neshama itself. And that's why it's here in the world, in order to choose between the good and the bad. That's the purpose, being able to overcome the obstacles that we have here and always keep to the good. So that is why free choice is so, so important in our belief. Because without free choice, so there's no real point to keeping Torah and mitzvot and punishing people for doing bad and giving them rewards for doing good. That's why it's so important. Let's talk a bit about our Parsha. Our Parsha talks about Paroi. It's very interesting because in our Parsha, we hear about the poor Paroi. It's not the almighty Paroi, this ruler that controls the entire world and that decides whatever it wants, and no one can leave Egypt at all. In our Parsha, we are starting to see how Paroi, he understands his position. And I'm not only talking about Makat Bechorot. We have in Parshas Vayera, let's do a bit of an order in the Parshas. Parshas Shmai starts on with Am Yisrael and the children of Yaakov and the grandchildren of Yaakov coming down to Egypt, living a good life until Vayakom Melech Chadash al Mitzrayim. There's a new king that comes to Mitzrayim, and this king starts enslaving the Jewish people. That's Parshas Shmais. And at the end of Parshas Shmais and at the beginning of Vayera, Hashem decides to send Moshe Rabbeinu to save the Jewish people. Parshas Vayera is about, which was the last Parsha, is about Moshe Rabbeinu coming to Paroi and telling him, let my people go, and if not, I will punish you with these certain plagues. Then we have Parshas Boy. Parshas Boy, we have three last markers: Arbe, Choshech and Makas B'choros, darkness and killing the first children born. And we have Makas Arbe, which was all these cockroaches and things like that came and ate all the food that was left for the Egyptians. And these three makos are the three makos that break Paro finally. He lets Am Yisrael go, and at the end of Parshas Bo, Am Yisrael are already out of Egypt, and they are coming towards the Red Sea to cross the Red Sea. So that is where we're holding. The first two parashas, we heard about this almighty Paro, but in our parasha, he changes his face. But not only in Makas B'choros, even before, and we need to understand why. What happened there to Paro? When Hashem says, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, the first pasuk in our parasha, Boyel Paro, Ki ani hichbadeti es liboy ves lev avodo. Go to Paro. And Rashi says, what does it mean, go to Paro? Don't just go to him. Warn him. Tell him you're about to bring this makkah that's called Arbe, and the Arbe will eat the entire food that remains in Egypt, and you won't have with what to live. You won't be able to eat anything else. There'll be nothing left. But Hashem adds another interesting word. Ki ani hichbadeti es liboy ves lev avodo. I made Paro stubborn. Don't think that his stubbornness comes from himself. He's not the one that's stubborn over here. I made him stubborn. Ani hichbadeti es liboy. I made his heart heavy. He's stubborn. He's not going to let the Jewish people out. Not yet. So here we've got to ask a very interesting question. And we can start even previously. Let's talk about Chumash Bereshis. There's a famous bris that's called Bris Ben HaBesarim, where Avraham Avinu and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in a very interesting scene, decide to make a bris, which means they are now connected in a very, very strong bond. That's the foundation of the Jewish nation. That's when it all started. And during that Bris Ben HaBesarim, there was a whole ceremony there where Avraham Avinu cut animals into two, and he needed to go through both sides. And he saw all kinds of things. One of the things that Hashem told him is, Ger yezaracha be'eretz lo Elohem. Your children will be sent to an exile, and they would be enslaved and tortured in that place. So why are we complaining and saying to Paro, let my people go, and we're going to be punishing you, and we're going to be teaching you a lesson because you are enslaving the Jewish people, when Hashem already promised Avraham that that's what's going to happen? How can we blame Paro for that? That is what Hashem planned at the beginning. Hashem planned that Am Yisrael would go down to Egypt and suffer in Egypt and leave Egypt. But why is Paro punishable? Why do we come with complaints to Paro and say, well, why are you enslaving the Jewish people? I'm enslaving them because Hashem told Yaakov Avinu's grandfather Avraham that Ger yezaracha be'eretz lo Elohem, they'll be exiled in a land that does not belong to them, and they will be tortured and enslaved in that land. I'm only doing what Hashem said is going to happen. It's an interesting question, and it's a question also to a lot of things in the world. How can we punish someone that did something bad? It's all part of Hashem's plan. Or is it not? Is there something in the world that's not part of Hashem's plan? Chas v'shalom. We all know that Hashem controls every single thing in the world. Hashem knows what you are going to do, and Hashem, in a certain way, allows it, or does he not allow it? So how do we look at this question? It's connected to free choice also, but I want to leave free choice for closer to the end. But let's deal with the question, simple, how can we punish Paro? So all the Mefarshim say, and this is something that is very clear, that when Hashem says something will happen, it's going to happen, but you aren't obligated and you are not allowed to make sure it happens. You aren't the one that can come with the excuse to say that, well, Hashem said that that's going to happen, therefore I'm entitled to enslave the Jewish people. No. Hashem is in charge of what he said, and that will happen. That's part of Hashem's plan. But you don't have the right on a personal level to go and say, well, I will carry Hashem's words and I will do what he said. That's not part of what's allowed. And this is why we come to Paroi and we complain. We say, well, why are you doing this? There is no excuse that Hashem said that you need to, that your Am Yisrael will be enslaved. Hashem said it, and he'll make sure to do it in some kind of way. But you have a free choice to decide whether you want to do it or someone else. Someone else could have done it as well. Could have been the people of Canaan, could have been the, many other nations around at that time that could have done it. Why did Paro want to go do it? Why was he the one to pursue Hashem's words? For that reason, Paro is punishable, and that's why he gets the 10 plagues. Okay, so first of all, that's one level that's clear, that although Hashem might decide something, but you can't do it for him. Those are the two things. Yes, it will happen, but you aren't the one to make it happen. That's the difference. And as we said at the beginning, we are learning in our Parsha about the poor Paro. He's not anymore in power. Hashem says, Ani hichbadeti es liboy v'eslev avodo. I am making him stubborn. It's not him. And it's the first time that at the beginning of our Parsha, finally we see that the slaves of Paro, which means the Egyptians, and Paro himself, so the slaves come to him, his ministers probably, and the nation, they come over to Paro and say, Haterem teidat ki avda Mitzrayim. Can't you see that our empire is about to vanish? Aren't you seeing around you what Hashem is doing to you? Why don't you let the Jews go? And finally, Paro is prepared. Paro calls Moshe and says, well, who do you want to take out of Mitzrayim? So Moshe says, everyone. Paro says, no, I can't allow everyone. Only certain people can go out. And that's where it falls, in the middle of the negotiation between the two. But finally, we see that Paro breaks. Why does he break? Why suddenly does he break? What changed over here? How come Paro became a reasonable person when there were animals all around Egypt, eating people, biting people, killing people? Paro did not care. He did not allow Am Yisrael to leave. He wasn't even prepared to hear. Suddenly in our Parsha, he's prepared to hear, but he does not actually let them go. What happened over here? But that's not the only question. What is the purpose of Moshe Rabbeinu going to Paro and telling Paro, let my people go, when Hashem tells him that Paro is going to be so stubborn, there's no one to talk to. And that's because I am the one that's making him stubborn. So why to go to him in the first place? What is the idea? So we know that a lot of the punishments that Hashem gives aren't just random punishments. They have a lot what to do with a midah keneged midah, which means in the same way that you treat Hashem, Hashem will treat you in that very way. And that has a lot what to do also on the good side with trusting Hashem, bitochen b'Hashem, emunah, belief in Hashem. When you trust Hashem, Hashem reflects the same trust in you, and he actually guarantees your trust. Why is emunah? There's a famous story about the Tzemach Tzedek, that someone came over to the Tzemach Tzedek and asked for a blessing. His son wasn't feeling well, and his son was about to die. He comes to the Tzemach Tzedek and he says, Rebbe, I need a bracha, I need a blessing. The Tzemach Tzedek said, Trach gut vet zayin gut. A famous saying which means if you think positive, it will be positive. And it actually happened that this Chassid thought that his son is going to be okay, and he ended up being okay. How does that work? What is it about thinking good? Can our thoughts create a cure for the sun. The idea is that in the same way that we treat Hashem, Hashem reflects back to us. When we trust Hashem, when we show that Hashem is actually can control everything, and we believe in that, Hashem wants to show that he's trustworthy, that he can actually cure your son just because you are trusting him. That is the pure of a midah keneged midah. So that's in the positive side. And Bezrat Hashem, we should all have to do only with positive things. But Paro learned it on the opposite side. As we spoke previously, if I'm not mistaken, last week, Paro and Mitzrayim, they were the empire of the world. It wasn't stam. There wasn't a random reason. There's a very specific reason. They had the Nile River. The Nile River provided them with water, with what's needed to drink, to water their fields, and to be able to grow, if it's wheat, barley, whatever it is, but that's what you need in order to live. For the sheep and for the cows to drink water, that's something very necessary. Without that, there's nothing to talk about. So Paro claimed that he is in full control. That's what his claim was towards Hashem. He said, I don't need Hashem in my life. I control my own life. To bring it in our days in 2021, we would say that it's someone that's so comfortable and confident in his position in work. So he tells Hashem, well, I've heard about you, and you are the creator of the world, but I don't need you in my life. I'm in a position, no one can fire me. I'm getting this and this amount of money every month. Nothing wrong can really happen. And Paro took it to another level. Paro said, yes, I'll do whatever I want with the Jewish people. You can't harm me. But his claim was that he is in full power, in full control. He can control everything. And this is the exact lesson that Hashem teaches Paro. This is what Hashem tells Paro, and this is, as it says in the Pasuk, Asher hit'alalti b'Mitzrayim. Hit'alalti, so the commentary there is, I played, sichakti b'Mitzrayim, I played with Mitzrayim. What does that mean? Hashem showed Paro that you aren't in control at all. These punishments weren't only about causing Egypt to be in complete darkness for 3 days. It was to teach him a lesson. It was also about the way that the punishment was given. The punishment was given in a way where Paro had no control. He had no control. Even he wanted to do good. He wanted to let the Jewish people leave, but Hashem said, I'm going to make you stubborn to show you that you aren't even in control to do good things. That is the idea behind our Parsha, Parshas Boy, the Makkos that we hear in Parshas Boy. The Makkos that we had before, Hashem is more just giving him a punishment and teaching him V'yod Mitzrayim ki ani Hashem, teaching him that Hashem is the ruler of the world. Here, Parshas Boy is another level. Here we learn how poor Paro is. Paro is not an evil man. Paro is not in control at all. And Hashem shows it to him when Hashem makes his heart so stubborn, he's not even able to do good. That's the biggest punishment. So once again, when we say 10 plagues and we talk about Makas Arbe, Choshech, Makas Bechores, all these 3 Makas, it's not only about the technical punishment. It's the way that Hashem punished Paro. And it's the idea behind it. As we said, with Hashem, everything is midah keneged midah. The same way that you treat Hashem, Hashem will treat you back. And there's no doubt about it. It's in the good and also in the bad. If you say that you're in full control and you are so convinced that nothing bad can happen to you, that's Paro, right? That's what Paro said. Therefore, he can do whatever he wants to the Jewish people. He'll make sure that they'll never leave Egypt. Hashem will show him not only a punishment and let my people go. Hashem could have caused Paroi, right? Hashem could have brought Makas B'choros, or could have killed Paroi at the beginning. Why to do 10 Makos, 10 plagues, and 3 weeks it took for each plague? And there was a week where Moshe Rabbeinu came over to Paroi and told him, I'm warning you, Hashem is going to punish you. You better let my people go. Why does it take 10 plagues in such a big amount of time? Hashem is here to teach Paroi a lesson about Hashem's existence. Teaching mankind that it is impossible to be in full control. And that's why the way that Hashem gave Paroi the Makkah wasn't only the technical Makkah, it was the way behind it. You won't be in control, and even though you will want to let the Jewish people go, I'm not going to allow you. And that's why the people of Mitzrayim are coming over to Paroi and telling Paroi, please, can't you see, let's just try and save what we have left. And Paroi agrees. Paroi says, you know what, call Moshe Rabbeinu, no problem. Let's see what he wants. Paroi is willing to do good. But then Hashem makes him a bit stubborn and says, no, you can't. The children, there's no need for the children to go and serve Hashem in Mount Sinai. Well, what is it with the children? Why do you need the children? That's making Paroi stubborn, showing him that he isn't even in control. He can't make one right decision. So that's a bit about the Makos, the 10 Makos. We can divide them into the first 7, which was strictly a punishment, and also to teach Mitzrayim Yodu Ki Ani Hashem, to teach Paroi that he isn't fully in control. But where does Paroi really learn that? In the beginning of our Parsha. When Moshe Rabbeinu comes and tells Paroi, I'm warning you. And Paroi says, yes, I want to let them go. But Hashem says, no, you aren't in control even to do good. So that is why Paroi was punished. And that is a bit about the story here that happened. So we started with free choice, and it's a very important concept and a very important idea. We learned about Paro's free choice, that he didn't really have a free choice. He didn't really have a free choice. Hashem, at the beginning, he did. He didn't need to enslave the Jewish people. But at a certain point, Hashem basically took it away from him. Hashem took it away from him. And the question is, it's something we could talk about a bit more about Paro, but let's talk about our free choice. And here, this is just to end. It's a very interesting concept. We can talk about it at least for an hour, about what is true free choice. But here is a fundamental question in the idea of free choice, right? We say that every person has free choice. He could do good or he could do bad. On the other hand, we say that Hashem knows every single thing, right? Hashem knows what we are going to do in the next moment, in the next day, in the next week, in the next year. And if we don't say that, if we don't say that Hashem is actually he actually knows about what we are going to do in the next moment. So he's lacking knowledge. He's not complete. So on the one hand, we are saying that Hashem knows everything, and he knows it in advance, right? He knows whether I'm going to, in other words, to put it in terms, Hashem knows whether I'm going to do this mitzvah or not, right? So do I have free choice to do this mitzvah? Hashem already knows that I am or not going to do this mitzvah. By the way, free choice doesn't always apply when it doesn't have nothing to do with mitzvahs and averos, right? Like we said that the neshama, before it comes down to the world, Hashem says whether this neshama will be rich, poor, smart, or stupid, etc., about all the other natures that humans have. But one thing it doesn't say, and it's tzaddik or rasha. Tzaddik or a rasha has to do with Torah and mitzvahs, right? Mitzvahs and averas. So that's the only thing that Hashem says you have free choice. You have free choice. You could do this mitzvah, you could do this avera, and you could not do it. So if we have free choice, that means, so how come if Hashem knows everything in advance, then it's not really free choice? Hashem already knows my decision that I'm going to do, let's say, good, right? Hashem knows I'm going to do this mitzvah. Okay, so it means that he knows that I'm going to do the mitzvah. There's no option that I can at the last minute regret and say, well, I'm not going to do this mitzvah. So do I have free choice or don't I have free choice? This is a question that we can talk about a long time. There's many sifrei, first of all, sifrei Hakira that talk about this. But not only sifrei Hakira, sifrei Hasidus talk about this. And there's sikhs of the Rebbe that the Rebbe speaks about this idea. But I just want to say one small tirut that is first brought in the Maimonides and the Rambam. And the Rebbe talks about this tirut a lot. And the idea is that it's funny because in our generation, we can understand this tirut much better than the Maimonides generation. The Maimonides says that knowledge, Hashem's knowledge, isn't connected to Hashem making the decision for us. When Hashem knows that we are going to do this and this decision, it's not because we don't have the ability to do the opposite. Hashem is above time and above space, which means for Hashem, your decision already happened. You have already decided to do good. Why can we understand it easier today in our generations? Because today, the whole concept is of time and space is different than those days. Those days, in order to go from one space to another, you needed to travel for a big amount of time, right? Let's say today, with some kind of special microscope or some kind of binoculars, I can see what happens in the end of the world. So because I know what happens at the end of the world, it doesn't mean that I've done that thing. Doesn't mean that that person doesn't have a free choice. The idea is that Hashem knows not because he causes me to do this. If it was because he causes me to do it, then I don't have free choice. Because Hashem is causing my action. But Hashem knows it just as someone sitting in space. Yes, it's a mashal, of course, it's not literally like that. And he's watching us. And for him, time is one. The past, the present, and the future is all at once. So it's as if I've already done that mitzvah. So he sees, oh, he did the mitzvah. Very good. But I could have also done the Avera. And Hashem is not deciding for me to do the Avera. Hashem says, oh, he'll write it as, oh, he done an Avera. It's already happened. In the way we look at things, in our mindset, so we say, well, I didn't do this thing yet. It didn't happen. And when it happens, then I'll decide to do good or bad. For Hashem, it already happened, and he already knows your decision. But it's your decision. It's not his decision. So there's sometimes some confusion between yediyah, knowledge, and bechira, choice. That's the question. The question is that it's connected, related. Once Hashem knows everything, it means that we don't have free choice. Because Hashem knows our decision, so it means it's a fixed decision. It's not connected. Hashem's knowledge is a result of our choice. How can he know it before we've done it? How can he know what we'll do in 3 days? Hashem is above time and space. But it's not that he decides for us. That's a concept that we can talk about a lot of time. And again, there's many Sfarim that talk about it. So that's basically the idea of Parshat Boy and the idea of free choice. We can talk about it again for a lot of time, and maybe we should have a special shiur about free choice. But we'd like to wish you all, Be'ezrat Hashem, you should have a wonderful week. And I would like to also invite whoever's listening to us invite you over to a course that we are having starting Be'ezrat Hashem next Sunday, a JLI course, Curious Tales of the Talmud. If you want any more information, you can contact us directly at the Facebook page of Chabad of Rechavia or the office, and I will give you further information about the course. And wishing you all a Shavua Tov and Simcha de Kavoch. Shavua Tov.